welcome to the Jazz Ranch. Welcome, hip cats, groovy chicks. I have a special program for you this evening. I'm going to be talking about a song called Unforgettable, which is very tricky to learn. I'm going to try to decipher the trickiness for you so you can learn it and understand it in depth. And before that, I have a few quotes from some great musicians, some great composers. First one is Robert Schumann. He said, "To send light into the darkness of man's hearts, such is the duty of the artist." So you see, if you're an artist, you have a responsibility to do that. So think about that. B.B. King now said this: "The beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you." That's right. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to teach, and we want to learn things, and I want to learn things. And once you learn something, you have it. It's your property, and you can never, can never be taken away from you. Now, next is John Lennon. He said this: "Life is what happens when you're making other plans." There's humor in that, and I love it. And then Sting said this: "If you play music with passion and love and honesty, then it will nourish your soul, heal your wounds, and make your life worth living. Music is its own reward." I love that from Sting. So now here we go with a great song, and I'm going to talk about it after this and break it down for you, called Unforgettable. Here we go. this song, Unforgettable, written by Irving Gordon, is a standard. In other words, a song that has lived through the ages and is popular in this day, and it's played at weddings. You know, you can play this tune at any gig you play, and people are going to love it, you know. But it's tricky and deceiving because it's actually in two keys at the same time. And it's very easy to screw it up and not play it right. In other words, if a singer comes up to the bandstand, as I'm going to do for Unforgettable, you know, this I'm going to do it in the key of B flat. Well, you don't know whether she means B flat at the end or B flat at the beginning, because it starts out in one key and then it modulates to another key. Now, what does that mean? Well, in this case, I'm starting it out in the key of F with one flat. Then it quickly modulates after the first 8 bars into the key of B flat. And it's very deceiving that way. It's tricky that way, but it's also very clever that the composer could write in 2 keys and not even really notice it. In other words, you're not really aware that you're changing key, but it does that. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video and give you a little bit of insight into how to overcome tricky songs that trick you into screwing them up, if you know what I mean. Now, the thing you wanted to understand or decipher is whether you are going to call the key signature based on the first chord and the first set of chords, maybe the first 8 bars or whatever, and then end up on another key in the last of the song, last bars of the song. So I always adhere to the fact that whatever the tune ends on, whatever the end chord is, last chord is, and the tonic note that's in that key. So in this particular case, I'm starting out in F, but I end up in B flat. So there you go. You started on the 5 chord, but it's not dominant like it should be. It's major 7. So we're really in the key of F. And then we modulate to the key of B flat. And that is very tricky for most musicians that don't understand this song. And they need to understand that. So you have to know if someone says, I want to sing this song, I want to sing it in the key of B flat, you have to know you start on F. If she says I want to sing this song in the key of F, you have to start on C. You see, it starts on the 5th. You know, so Irving Gordon, who composed this song, he was so clever about it that he was able to start out in one key, a 5th above the actual key. And he was able to compose a song in 2 different keys and make them so smooth sounding, symmetrical, or whatever you want to call it. It goes from one key to the next without any sense of modulation. It just melodically works, you know, probably because there's only, between the F scale and the B flat scale, there's only one change, and it's the E flat, right? So he starts out in the key of F like this. 1 chord to the flat 3 diminished, you know. Then the 2 chord. 2 chord dominant, which would take us to the 6th chord, but now that 6th chord becomes the 2 chord of a new key of B flat. 4 minor. There's the B flat chord, right? So now all the tonality is changed to the key of B flat. And then we go here with the 2 dominant, C7, C7, and then it modulates back to F. You're not even aware that it's modulating between 2 keys, you know. It's so clever. 4 chord, 2 chord. Now the C minor relating to B flat major. 4 minor. There's the 1 chord in B flat. 6 chord dominant. Resolving 2-5-1 into B flat. Now, how he was able to go play in 2 different keys or write this song in 2 different keys and make them so smoothly connected probably has a lot to do with the fact of how the root and the fifth are connected. In other words, the key of B flat and the key of F. So now I can tell you hundreds and even thousands of piano players have screwed this up when the singer comes up on the bandstand and says, I want to sing this song in the key of F. But what she means is that it starts out in F, but she really wants to sing it in B flat. You know, or she could say, you know, I want to sing this song in the key of B flat. Starts out in B flat, but it ends up in the key of E flat. You know, so I always ask the singer, I learned from, you know, screwing it up, I learned that you have to ask the singer, does she want to end up in this key? And I give her the last chord. Are you going to end up in that key, or are you going to start out in the fifth higher? So, in other words, this is one of those tricky songs that is going to confuse you until you understand what's happening here. So what is the point of this video? It is that to understand that chord progressions don't link necessarily to the key that you're in. In other words, there's other possibilities. And in this case, it starts out on the 5 chord, but it's major. And that is a new key. In other words, the starting key is a fifth higher than the ending key. And if anybody, you know, calls this tune on a bandstand, you're there, you want to know this, and you want to question them and say, what key do we want to end up on? What key do we start out on? So we start out on a fifth higher than the key we end up on, and that is very unusual. It's very tricky, you know. Believe me, I've learned this from experience working with singers. So there you go. I hope this is helpful to you. Signing off from the Jazz Ranch. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Please write to me. I love to hear from you. I respond to all my comments. And until next time, I'll say in the words of my great friend Hermie, he's still up there, saying, swing loose. And we'll see you next time around. Bye-bye.